if you don't heal whatever it is that hurt you, you're going to bleed on people who have no idea where and how it happened. You can only control and subdue something that is weaker than you. Because as long as you're holding on to that pain, as long as you're allowing it to lead you, you're empowering that pain. And that's why you find yourself, every other person you're relating with, you're hurting them unknowingly. Maybe by the words you're using, maybe by the things you do towards them, because you're also struggling with yourself. You're giving that pain power over you. And most of the times what happens is this. Those people who hurt you, most of them don't even care. Most of them moved on with their lives. Because apparently what we are dealing with in adulthood right now is childhood trauma. When this pain is in you, it's eating you up, it's hurting you, it is controlling you. By you focusing on that person who hurt you, you're empowering that person unknowingly. You're giving this person too much power over you. My name is Njoroge Njau, currently working with the National Youth Service of Kenya as a senior sergeant by the grace of God. And I am a wounded healer. Someone who's come from a very dark place emotionally. Someone who now stands and tells people there is hope, regardless of how far or how dark you are emotionally and mentally. I'm a mental wellness advocate and a trainer of trainers in addiction counseling, trained by the International Society of Substance Abuse Professional, the Kenyan chapter. I'm also a mind specialist trained by the Mind Specialist Institute. And above all, I'm a mom of 3 beautiful children and a wife to 1 handsome man. And I thank God for being here. And also, I've come from a place where if I'm told to go back there now with the kind of energy that I have, with the kind of knowledge that I have, I'd go back there quick fast. Because right now, I know as a person, I've changed people's lives. There's one thing I've learned, like, you can never deal with something unless you acknowledge it is there and you accept it happened. So when it comes to pain, when it comes to trauma, when it comes to hurt, unless you acknowledge, yes, this happened, you cannot take that journey to healing. It can't be possible, Justus, because again, what is it that you're taking a journey towards? Because once you figure out, like, this is the source of my pain, this is where it all started, I want to deal with this. That is what you call calling it out. Call it out. This man hurt me. This man broke me. This man capitalized on my vulnerability. I need to deal with whatever it is this man put into me. And once you call it out, because I call that calling it out, quote unquote, once you do that, that is the only time you can be able to take back your control. You can only control and subdue something that is weaker than you. So when this pain is taking advantage of you, when this pain is in you, it's eating you up, it's hurting you, it is controlling you. This pain breeds bitterness. This pain breeds resentment. This pain breeds anger. This pain breeds agitation that you cannot be able to tell where it's coming from. And that's why you find yourself, every other person you're relating with, you're hurting them unknowingly. Maybe by the words you're using, maybe by the things you do towards them, because you're also struggling with yourself, right? Because you don't know what really the problem is. But the moment you decide, me as Liz, I need to work on my anger issues. Me as Liz, I need to work on the bitterness that I have towards person A. That is the only time you start your healing journey, Justus. Because as long as you're holding on to that pain, as long as you're allowing it to lead you, you're empowering that pain. You're giving that pain power over you. And most of the times what happens is this. Those people who hurt you, most of them don't even care. Most of them moved on with their lives. Because apparently what we are dealing with in adulthood right now is childhood trauma. Things that happened in my childhood. Things I chose not to look at that time as abuse, because probably it was coming from someone so close to me, someone who was supposed to protect me, someone who was supposed to be my caregiver. And when you stop looking at something for what it is, you're giving it a name. You're giving it power and authority over you. So when I say acknowledge and accept, call it out for what it is. Like, really, Liz, you were touched inappropriately many years ago by your cousin. But that is what we call abuse right now. Call it abuse and you will heal. Slide it under the carpet because it's your relative, you will never get over it. And what it does to you, when you get married, when you get into a relationship, it's going to have a way of projecting itself there. So you find yourself doing things to your spouse that even you yourself don't know where they're coming from. They say every single action has a reaction. Basically, that means every single thing that happens to us as people, yeah, it has a source. And many years back, something happened to me that most of the people really don't know it happened. But I always say, if you can be able to talk about what hurt you and you don't break down, well done. You're doing well for yourself. You're healing. Around 14 years ago, I met someone. And before I met this guy, when I was growing up, we were growing up with my relatives and my cousins. And there are things that used to happen that I can call them right now. That was sexual abuse. But then, it never occurred to me it was. Because they say, as you grow, that is when you understand some of the things that used to happen to you in childhood were really not right. I can't even begin to say, like, I tried telling my parents, because of course I didn't. Because by that time, to me, it looked normal. I think, to me, it was like, cousins do this to cousins. Oh, yeah. So I cannot say my mom or my dad weren't there for me. Actually, I love my parents to the bone. Because even me being what I am right now, it's thanks to their patience. So I met a man after that, and I took the guy home, and I was sure this is the guy who's gonna be my husband, like we all say. And fast forward, I get pregnant, and that is where everything changed. Because he decided he doesn't want a baby. You know, I've never understood how it happens. Like, this moment you want a baby and boom, when the baby comes, you're no longer interested. I think I'll need to sit a few men down and understand that. That notwithstanding, I tell him, and he tells me, Liz, I want you to come and meet me in town. We need to talk about this. And Liz goes to town. I'll never forget, it was on a Saturday. And looking back, the words that guy used that day, the things he said to me, really kind of broke me and took me to the darkest hole mentally that I've been struggling to get out of. And regardless of the fact that the way you see me superficially, I'm very, very strong. emotionally, I was not at my best for the longest. But like I said, when you acknowledge you have a problem, when you acknowledge your source of pain, you start dealing with it from the roots. So me, I go to meet this guy, and I remember he was taking Tusker with a very long glass. And dude tells me, you know what, me, I'm not ready for a baby, and the best you can do, I'm going to give you 10,000 shillings for you to go and procure an abortion. That iked me. That just has got me off guard. I think that is the day I figured I have anger management issues, trust me. Because I took that glass and I hit him and I hurt him somewhere over here. And I caused a lot of havoc, drama, you know. And I left. And first I went home. I called my mom. My mom is like, don't worry, just come home. We're going to figure this out. We will figure this out, come home. I thank God for my mom because she's a phenomenal woman to me. And I always tell God, just keep her a little bit longer for me to be able to become half the woman that she is. My dad is a spectacular man. I ain't saying this because I'm on camera. This is something even those who've related with me know, those who've met my dad, my friends, they know. Dad, I salute you. You guy, you're the best. So I go home and they nurture my pregnancy. My siblings are all over. They help me. We are there with them. And I give birth to a beautiful baby girl. And I stay home. And that is where you start realizing as a person, you need also to start doing something for yourself because you brought an extra mouth to feed. And that exactly was not the intention of your dad taking you to college. Remember, this is someone I've met when I'm in college. And I didn't say I work with the National Youth Service. And I was in college in National Youth Service too. So I was supposed to clear from the service and go. The contract in NYS is usually 5 years. So before my contract was complete, that's when I fell pregnant. And I thank God for someone who stood with me. She's no longer there. May her soul really rest in peace because that lady was amazing. She helped me and I got my certificate and I was out. So I give birth and I'm here with the baby. My mom is there, she's working. My dad is also working. But then again, my baby is not my parents' responsibility. As much as they want to be there for us, I had to shape up. I had to show up for myself and my baby. And I remember one time I didn't even have a phone, though I was applying for jobs. And one guy, I don't even know whether he remembers this. He's called Douglas Gitari. And wherever he is, I want him to watch this and know you changed someone's life unknowingly with a single act of kindness. And that's why I always say, in a world that you can be anything, just be kind. Because kindness is classy. So he gave me a phone, a phone. I can't remember what it used to be called really. That phone used to press and it illuminates color orange. I can't remember the name. Because I had applied for a job and he knew. I had told him he used to come and visit me on and off. So he knew I had applied for a job, but his concern was, Liz, you've applied for a job. How are these guys going to get you if they want to talk to you? He brought the phone on a Wednesday, and on Friday, I was called. See how God works. I go to work, and I had two bosses, two Asian bosses, two ladies and a guy. One Asian lady was amazing, and she used to love my daughter so much. But the other one was the opposite. And remember, I'm dealing with issues. I have an underlying lot of issues, yeah? So I have not really been able to identify, like I have anger management issues, I have other issues that I don't even know where they're coming from because my emotions were all over. I was running ruckus on everyone because I think that had become my defense mechanism, really, to try and push people away. I was kind of dividing and ruling, you know. Unity for me was not nothing. I was in a place, I was clearly, all my wounds were just oozing on anything that I touched my hands to. And I honestly had to figure out something. So 3 months down into working, and one Saturday morning, I don't know, we get to an altercation with this Asian lady and I slap her. You see the things you do and you wonder whether you're the one who did it. And anger has a way of making you do things that you cannot be able to justify. Because I slapped her, not even bothering to think this lady would run to Parklands police station and get me arrested. This lady is the boss. This lady is the one who is calling the shots. But anger, bitterness, resentment, all of them in one wouldn't allow me see that. And after I slapped her, I called my dad. And I remember I told my dad, Dad, mimi nimechapa mhindi. Coffee. My dad was like, it was long overdue. I knew it would happen somehow. So that you understand how our parents really, really know us, yeah? So after that, few years later, my baby sister, I love her, and every single interview that I do, I quote her. I cut off my family because, you know, anger makes you think they hate you, makes you think they don't love you, they don't want to be associated with you, yet it is not them. They don't have the problem. It is me who has the problem. But who's there to tell me, Liz, you have a problem? No one. No one is there, Justus. So one day my sister calls me and she's like, Liz, if you don't heal whatever it is that hurt you, you're going to bleed on people who have no idea where and how it happened. That broke me down, Justus. I cried. No one would have told me anything. No one, Justus. And when my sister told me that and I broke down, that's when I realized I need to really work on something. I need to work on myself. Liz, you need to find out what's ailing you. Because it's either you're sick or you're getting sick or something is not right. And now I'm already working. I already got employed, and after I finished, let me take you back. After I finished and I gave birth, 2 years later, the National Youth Service advertised positions. And I gave it a shot. And I went for the interviews, and we were successful, and we were shortlisted. My mom was really praying for me to get a job. We were shortlisted, and unfortunately, there was a public outcry that the shortlisting was marred by a lot of corruption, so mpaka irudiwe. Mpaka kirudivo. So there are only two things that would have happened. If I was shortlisted before, ningetemwa. If I was not shortlisted, I'd get lucky and get shortlisted. Luckily, God got me. Because despite all the things that we go through despite all the murky waters that we need to really sail through, God has a way of protecting us. God knew I really needed that job. God knew I would love to integrate with people from different cultures and different, God knew with the diversity I'd grow. And I remember I was shortlisted number 133, the first one. And the second time I was also shortlisted number 133. So that was an indication like, wow, God is still up there. Because during that period when I was going through whatever it is that I was trying to fight, at some point, I cursed God. You get to a place where you really don't know you're the problem, Justus. So to you, everyone else around you is the problem. So by the time you get to realize you are the problem, so many relationships have been broken, so many people you've hurt, so much pain you've caused in people. So when my sister told me that, I went to our director. He's the one in charge of counseling. And he knows me because when he was doing his thesis for counseling, I'm the one who helped him. So he knows me on a personal level. Just as I walked into that guy's office and I broke down. And then he knew this is not okay. He told me, Liz, I know you as a very strong person. I've seen you from a small girl. I've seen you grow. And I don't want you to be broken by whatever it is that you think you're doing. I'm going to tell you the truth. You need to heal your pain. That statement stabbed through my heart like a sharp knife. And that is when he started telling me, it took me a few sessions and started telling me, Liz, you need to pinpoint your pain. Liz, you need to understand where it all started. And that's when I took my mind back and I started my healing journey. I started doing books, reading books, internet, listening to shows, listening to, every other thing. I was now ready to take that leap of faith and heal my pain. When you're hurting, when someone hurt you, you forget about you as a person. And you start focusing on your aggressor, which is wrong. By you focusing on that person who hurt you, you're empowering that person unknowingly. You're giving this person too much power over you. You're allowing them, even from wherever they are, to control you. Yet, they don't even know anything like that exists because according to them, they moved on with their lives, which happens with every other person. So when I was told, Liz, you need to pinpoint your pain, Liz, you need to deal with your pain, that is where I started. Because the Bible says, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. When your heart is hurting, there's nothing good that can come from there, because the heart is the reservoir of all our emotions. So if there are no beautiful emotions in there, you can't be able to project them. So all the things that I was doing, even these that people call projection and everything, they were just bad emotions. Anger, resentment, agitation. You become very highly irritable, even with people. You don't even know, you don't know how to, you don't even know how to set boundaries. You can go all the way just to prove a point. You're struggling to fit in. You're struggling to be relevant. Yet, you're just broken, really broken. And what we don't realize, the more you push yourself to people, the more you try to struggle so much to fit in, you keep hurting yourself the more. Because you're not in the actual state of mind to relate with people, you know? So I decided to take that healing journey, and this is a journey just as that I've taken alone. Let me say that. Because when it comes to healing as a journey, this is a journey you have to take alone. By alone, I don't mean you don't need help. You do need help. But I figured being emotionally unstable and being in that state of not having your emotions in control, as much as even a therapist would like to help, the decision has to come from you. Just like addiction. You can't force someone to go for rehabilitation because they're addicted unless it comes from them. It is a choice. It is a decision you have to take as a person. They say the longest journeys are taken alone. Those are journeys you meditate. Those are journeys you start discovering. Those are journeys you rediscover. Those are the journeys you learn and unlearn. You can only do that single-handedly as a person. So when I started taking the healing journey, that's when I discovered something about me. You know, when you're in a state of being just you and God, when God is the one who is guiding you, of course with your family, your siblings, your parents, uko nyuma, trying to encourage you, keep going, you're doing well. At times, you figure out you need to separate yourself. You need to isolate yourself for you to be able to deal with it once and for all. Because they say separation brings growth most of the times. And for me, I had somehow to separate myself with people so that I try and figure out my issues. And I want to tell you, I'm glad I took that healing journey because it has been amazing for me. It really has been beautiful for me because I've discovered something about me that I didn't know, that I am an emotional healer. Like even in my brokenness, even in that state of not being in control, I would get someone who really believes in me and they know I can help them. You see, when you're not in a place just as to help yourself, then someone walks in and believes in you. It empowers you. It gives you the urge to keep going. So I started learning to be there for myself. I started figuring out, like Liz, you gotta wake up and show up for yourself because it's not about you, it's about the people who are out there who need you. And I took that journey. I chose to really focus on that. And with time, I am a different person. I'm in a place right now, I can tell someone, you know what? You need help. Most of the times there's a phrase people use, they say, for gold to be gold, it has to pass through fire. Basically, it means for you to be what God has destined you to be, you have to really pass through those potter's arms and you really, really want to get beaten. In my bid to struggle to fit in, you meet remarks from people like Liz, wewe ni mtoto kichwa ngumu, wewe unasumbua wazazi wako sana. I remember one uncle made that statement to me. wewe hata hutawahi, you will never even make it in life because of the way you're disturbing your parents and everything. Most of the times, those people who behave the way they behave, I have figured out just as that's a cry for help. Many other times, they are trying to call out for someone to come and help them. But instead of people helping, we are very good at judging people. What drove me to even become more in the emotional and mental wellness journey is I want us to change the stigma that surrounds being mentally and emotionally unstable. I want us to embrace it. And if someone asks me right now, Liz, what's your definition of mental wellness? I tell people, personally to me as Liz, mental wellness is accepting and appreciating people who are having mental wellness issues, embracing them and kicking out stigma. To me, mental wellness is more about away goes stigma, in comes love. Because unless we love on them, they can't be able to open up and talk about it. Because people out here have tagged a very bad name to people who have emotional issues and mental issues. Like, they're mad. These people have gone nuts. It's not really the case. And I say most of the times, and those who are going to watch this and they know me, they know I say it. The world does not need more of billionaires and investors. The world needs more healers and restorers. In my journey of healing, just as I met someone who apparently needed my help. And not knowing he is going to change my life. Not knowing he will bring out something in me that I didn't know. He needed me to take him through his healing journey, and because he was dealing with issues, and we've been doing that. Funny enough, he's not even in Kenya. I know you're going to watch this. Yeah. And I'm proud of the man that you've become. I'm proud of the journey that you took. And also I'm grateful for bringing out the best in me. He's in Australia. And through him, through interacting with him, through talking to him, he brought out something in me that I didn't know. That I am a wounded healer. Now, wounded healers are those people who feel the pain, feel it over and over until that pain becomes lessons to them. And they use those lessons to impact on other people and try to show other people it is not the end of life. For him, with dealing with him, there are those moments you will feel like you're done. You know, you deal with people and you're just exhausted, really exhausted. But when you talk to him, when he talks to you, there's just an aura of empowerment and energy that he comes with. He encourages you, he holds you, you know, and tells you, Liz, you have to do this. These people believe in you. At times I get inboxes that I can't be able to deal with. And since he's a medic, I send them to him. And he's like, how do you want to go about this? I share with him and he's like, this is good, keep doing it, keep doing it. Mental wellness in this country, Justus, has been placed somewhere. Initially, it was placed somewhere on the shelves. Up until 2020, during the COVID-19, when things really started coming. You're watching, actually, I stopped watching news in my house in 2020. Right now, if you ask me the headlines of the news last, I cannot tell you. Because it got to a place, even watching news was devastating, especially with the kids. I remember one time we watched the news like yesterday, and now today my daughter was like, Mom, another person has killed another again. Goodness. I was like, my goodness, all these kids even watch too. And we decided we ain't gonna do this news anymore. Mental wellness is something that needs to be addressed. You know, we were in a place as a country, you just want to see the result. Liz woke up and shot the husband and the kids and, you know, didn't feel anything and was arrested. Liz was taken to Langata. That is what people look to. I wish we would be in a place as a country where we could mitigate it before it gets there. The only way to do this is providing a safe space for people who feel they are emotionally drained, mentally unstable, to talk. And I'm very proud of you, Justus, because whatever it is that you're doing in your platform, it's giving people that opportunity to do that. Let people, I try my best to tell people that you can only heal once you acknowledge that you have a problem. And you can only forgive once you have healed. Healing is one journey that can take decades, ages. It has no lifeline. You just appreciate the steps you take at a time as a person. And that is where self-awareness and self-love comes in. Because I always tell people, you cannot be able to pour from an empty cup. So even for those people who are providing safe spaces for people to come and pour themselves out, there are at times, just as you deal with people in your inboxes, your head is spinning. You feel yourself, you need therapy. People are walking around with a lot of issues. I remember during the former president's tenure, the fourth, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, when he opened a mental wellness hospital, it should be somewhere in Ngong, I don't know. People really made fun of that, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart. When you look at the state of the economy right now, you look at what COVID-19 did to people. People are frustrated. People are angry. People are bitter because things ain't working. And you see, the saddest part about mental wellness does not portray physically. It's not like a punch someone's going to give you, then tomorrow I'm going to wake up with a black eye and you know, wow, Liz was beaten proper. It's not like that. Mental wellness is invisible. And you cannot know you have a mental wellness issue until someone pinpoints it for you. In my case, my sister did. She's like, Liz, if you don't heal what hurt you, you're going to bleed on people who had nothing to do with your pain. She pinpointed it out for me. And that was my turning point. The other time I was having a show about mental wellness, during the mental wellness month, that is the month of October. And I was telling the audience, look out for that friend of yours who used to appear someplace frequently and is no longer there. Try and find out what happened to Justus. He was all over social media, he was doing well, then a day came and Justus is no more. Try and reach out to people because people are suffering. And because most of the people are not ready to come in, and pour it out, if you can reach out to people, reach out to people. If they decide to open up to you, please link them up to professionals. Link them up to Justus. Link them up to Lynn Ngugi. Link them up to people who can help them. Elevate them to a place that it's not going to be about their tears. It's going to be about what they achieved after that. Please, I'm going to say right here on camera, let's not force people to forgive their aggressors when they are not ready. Forced forgiveness is like a broken glass that you know is broken and you place it in the shelf. when someone comes to pick it up, to drink water with it, it scatters. That is what forced forgiveness is, Justus. And allow people to forgive at their own pace. You know? And forgiving doesn't basically mean me as Liz, I'm going to keep relating with Justus, who is my aggressor. That is not forgiveness. Forgiveness just means being in a place, me as Liz, I forgave that guy who put me through pain. I wished him the best. I let go. Forgiveness basically means letting go and letting heal. That is what it is. The more you hold on, because I say at times people don't realize that holding on hurts than letting go. Case in scenario, you're holding on to a barbed wire. You know a barbed wire that is used to do fencing? It has some prickers all over. But you want to hold on to that. The more you hold on to that, the more it keeps cutting you and the more you keep bleeding. But when you let go, you save yourself from that pain. Another thing about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for your aggressor. Forgiveness is for you as a person. Because forgiveness gives you something we call the beauty of redemption. The beauty of redemption basically is you don't seek revenge on whoever offended you. You don't wish them bad. You only don't want to relate with them. Forgiveness means you let them go. Forgiveness means you ain't giving them power over you. Forgiveness does not prevent justice from taking place. It should not interfere with the justice system. Case in scenario of that girl who was abused by a relative. This is someone who was supposed to protect her. This is someone who was supposed to guide her. This is someone who was supposed to guard her. But they chose to violate her. We're in a place as a society where I'm glad people are no longer doing this is family, we can deal with it in the family circle. That is ending day by day, and I love that. Because that moment you deny this little girl the opportunity to see justice, you've planted a wound in that lady that even as a mature woman, she will never get over. She will always project because she was abused by a man, remember. She's supposed to get married to a man. She's supposed to stay with a man in the house, according to society. And I'm going to say here, Justus, let people stop being defined by what society says. Let people begin carving their own paths. Many years ago, people are not supposed to intermarry from different tribes. But see us now, people are. Because they decided society is not going to define how we relate. So when it comes to forgiveness, let no one dictate to you how much you're supposed to take to forgive someone who hurt you. No one has the right to decide Liz Justus hurt you. No one. Because at the end of the day, I tell people, when you start finding yourself, you realize you're the only person who has the power to decide what stays and what goes. No one else. Because after everything is said and done, just as you realize, me as Liz, I have to wake up and show up for myself. Me as Liz, I gotta get up and go grinding because I need to be there for me. Because when the sun sets, when the dust settles, when everything is said and done, the only person who will never leave you is you. So empower you, love on you, forgive you. How many times have you hurt yourself by holding on to a relationship that you knew is not helping you? But yet you keep telling yourself, Liz, he's gonna change. Let me keep holding on. Liz, you've invested a lot. Usiende, where are you going? You're hurting you. seek forgiveness from you. The way I was brought up by my mom and dad, I usually tell people, if I'm not a version of my mom right now, I'm working towards that. Let's people stop saying, there's this thing people are saying right now, kids of nowadays are different. They are not different. They are not different. Parents are the ones who are choosing to be different. Like I said when I started, call off any bad behavior. Call it out, any bad behavior. Call out a bad attitude in your child. When we were growing up, just as you wouldn't have just walked into the sitting room when your mom had guests. The eye your mom is going to look at you with would have told you to retreat. What changed? Why don't you bring your child the same way? Of course, we were beaten blue-black by our parents. And that's why at times they say we are who we are. Some of us, if we weren't beaten, probably we wouldn't even be seated here. Parents need to strike a balance. That's the thing. Do not give your children too much power over you as the parent and forget you're the parent. Because you are the one who is parenting this kid. You are the one who knows what should stay and what should not stay. You're the one who has the power and authority to call out that bad behavior when you see it. So why aren't we doing it as parents? The difference is in the manner in which we are doing it. Choose, that's why I said initially, stop allowing society to tell you how to bring up your kid. Carve your own path. Remember, this kid you're bringing up, you're not bringing up that kid for yourself. You're bringing up that kid for the society. Unless, of course, you're ready to bring up your son, Justus, take him to university, open a company for him, allow him, he's going to be under you all his life. But as long as you're bringing up that kid for the society, parents, we need to call out these bad behaviors that our kids are picking. Listening to your child doesn't make you weak. It gives you an impression of what is really going on in your child's life. We've become a very busy society. It's waking up, going to work every day, Monday to Saturday, Sunday. You choose to sleep. You don't even have time for your kids. Create time for what is important to you. We never have time as Kenyan parents, or even as parents of the world, right? But we always have that way that you can create time for what matters to you. If your children matter to you, create time for them. If your family matters to you, create time for it. We need to be intentional parents. Let us do something we call intentional parenting. What do I mean by intentional parenting? Whatever it is that you feel you didn't get as a child and you want to give it to your child, create boundaries. One thing about boundaries, in all areas in our lives, boundaries, when you set boundaries, it may not be comfortable for the other person, but it works for you. That's basically it with with parenting. Because me and my kids know, mom does not like A, dad does not like B. So we're going to figure out how we're going to work around this. They know it. You have to start making it clear so that as they grow, they understand. This is wrong, this is right. My kids usually tell me because I don't like clutter. So anytime I walk in the house and I find things are all over, they know. So my son tells me, hey, mom, you don't even like any small disorganization, and I tell him, probably it's because I want you also to grow up a very organized person. When you tell them that, we only have to have the correct choice of words when dealing with them. Don't tell your kid something that's gonna go on and on in their life as it replays in their mind. I was telling a group of moms some time ago that even as parents, it's important for us to at times apologize to our children for saying things that didn't go down well with them. Because remember, you're the one who is building the esteem of this child. You're the one who is building the, the respect in this child. The maturity of this child is being nurtured by you. So if right now, I can't be able to sit down and listen to my daughter, she's going to go out there and find someone else who's going to listen to her. And it's not going to go down so well with you as a parent. So basically what I'm saying, we should learn to strike a balance. Balance and set boundaries that work for you as a parent. They may not like it right now, but in future, the way we look at it, is a time there was a conversation on Facebook and people were making fun of the way our moms used to really like bring us up. Back people were saying, I think our generation of moms were cut from the same cloth. Because when you sit back with your colleagues from Western, from wherever, they tell you how their moms used to do it is the same way as we used to do it. So I think whatever it is our moms did that day, I think that's what made us who we are right now. Not because they didn't have any other parenting way. I'm sure even them, they weren't brought like that up by our grandmothers. They just had to carve their own way. So what happened to us also carving our own way? Let's not start putting it like it's a competition. You want to outdo the way your mom brought you up. You want to bring up your child in a different way. It doesn't go like that. Everything revolves around boundaries and strict boundaries, and also balancing. Strike a balance. Be a parent, be a teacher, be a clinician, be a criminal justice. And that's some time ago I put up a post and I was telling them, you sit back in the office at times, you just want to go home, you're missing your kids, yeah? You already have a picture in mind of how it's going to be like when you get home. But when you get home, you become the DPP, you become the DCI, you become Mother Kwame, you become everything in that house. Even your mood just goes. Because now you become everything in that house. Mom, this one did. Mom, this one did. So you have to settle that out. What am I saying? You have to strike a balance. Where I work, because I work in the uniformed force, I want to applaud my boss. Our Director General has done an amazing job since she came to the service 4 years ago. And she has really empowered the mental wellness department, the addiction department. There's a thin line between addiction and mental wellness. I usually say they are kind of related because there are mental wellnesses that are triggered by addiction, okay? And the good thing or the bad thing about it, they project the same way. So I would state here or request those people who deal with the uniformed personnel. I also have a friend in the Kenya prisons, and they're doing well also in the mental wellness department. And even the Kenya police, it's been a while since something happened that shook the whole world. So basically, when it comes to the uniformed force, I think the people who've been placed in those specific offices, they are doing a lot. They're doing a lot to embrace it, to even help people to deal with it, to come up with workplace policies that favor or allow people who have mental wellness issues to be attended to. So I think for me, from where I sit, I applaud the leaderships of the different uniformed and disciplined forces that we have in the country. Because mental wellness in itself is something that never ends. Mental wellness evolves every day. Today, it has given us the place to be able to talk about, to teach people about personalities, understanding yourself as a person, working on you as a person. And you see, mental wellness starts with me. Because I cannot be able to help you when I'm not stable. So it all has to come from me, so that whatever it is that I want to pour out, it comes from me. So that is why I'm an advocate of self-empowerment. Love on you, empower you, be there for you. Fill yourself in so that you can be able to just cascade it to other people. Because you don't give what you don't have, basically. So if you don't have any mental wellness in you, any understanding, any, you can't be able to give it to anyone. And if you check on yourself, if I work on myself, if he works on himself, at the end of the day, we want to have people who understand themselves and they can be able to stand in there for people. Because one thing with being a healer, it has taught me something, that as much as you're there for people, you need to also understand you cannot be there for everyone. And many other times you sit down with someone, you talk to someone, you listen to their story, and it also gets to you. You get some kind of transference of emotions. And if you feel there's a bit of transference of emotions and you can't handle it, I usually tell people, just get out of there. Link that person to someone else who can help. If you feel, because there are times you listen to someone's story and it relates to your story. So you see yourself in that person. And when you start seeing yourself in a client, you go back to whatever it is that happened to you. And you cannot, considering probably you never had someone to hold your hand or to stand with you, you start remembering the kind of behaviors that you were depicting at that particular time. And now you start becoming judgmental to that person. I'm one person who is proud of myself as a person and where I've come from. Those who've related with me closely can tell I'm really a different person. And I am happy with the Liz that I am right now. I'm able right now to relate with people more objectively without attaching any emotions. I'm more in a place I can be able to control my anger. I'm more in a place where I've now become a very passive listener. Because when you start relating with people, when you start helping people, you learn an art of listening that I didn't have before. You wouldn't have told me anything before I flip, because that was my defense mechanism at that point. But right now, I'm ready to listen to someone objectively. I'm ready to listen to the voice of reason, which I never used to do before. So from where I am, I want to tell people there is hope. God uses what remained after everything was said and done to elevate me and put me in a place where I'm going to be looking down and I'm like, I came from that deep hole and I want to pull someone from their dark hole. Because basically when it comes to healing, it's about paying it forward. You can't be able to do anything else apart from heal another person. Who's going to heal another person? Who's going to heal another person? So at the end of it, we're going to have a whole chain of people who have healed each other. You know, you never realize you have something until someone tells you, or until you lose it. When I started, we started talking with that friend of mine, he put up something to me and he's like, Liz, I think this is something you can be able to do for people. Because I appreciate the fact that you've taken me from where I was, and I would love it to see you do it for other people. So during the Mental Wellness Month, that's the month of October, I reached out to one doctor, and I want to say hi to her. She's called Dr. Becky Getau. And she told me, Liz, I love what you're doing. Because I sent her, I just did like 2 videos first on TikTok, and I sent them to her, and she's like, can you be able to keep doing this? And I told myself, why not? I can try. And If you go to my Facebook page, like the whole of the month of October, I've done a lot of videos on mental wellness, on mental healing, and you do a video and you get an inbox of someone who's like, me, I need help. Liz, I want you to help me. The videos that you're doing, are you in a place to help me get over this? And you see now the first important step is them acknowledging that I have a problem and I need help. That really blesses my soul. That really keeps me going. It doesn't matter how many people are going to watch it. It doesn't matter how many people are going to listen to it. But the fact that someone reached out and said they need help, that really heals my heart. It really gives me a fulfillment like no other. And this is something I desire to do regardless of how, because I know God is going to give me a platform. And I want to thank you so much also for giving me this opportunity, Justus. I don't take it for granted that I'm here and I can be able to share, because sharing is the first step to healing. And when you're healed, you live a healed life, you know? And when you portray it out there, even those people who are around you can feel an aura of something different. Basically, that's what it is. I believe I want to be in a place where I can be able to keep telling people that it is okay to hurt. It's okay to be in a state of pain. But it is better to heal. It is better to forgive. Because when you keep hurting, your heart gets marks. When someone keeps hurting you emotionally, they engrave something in your heart. So by the time they're done with you and you realize, I need to go out, your heart is gone. You're in a very deep place, in a very dark place emotionally. And pulling yourself out there is going to take a lot of strength. And that's why I say, I appreciate any single person who's come from a dark place emotionally. Because the amount of time, the amount of emotions, the amount of investment it takes to crawl from a dark hole mentally and emotionally, I congratulate them. It's not easy. So what I seek to work on basically is not being hopeless, because my story didn't end in me being hopeless. I found people who believed in me. I found people who thought it prudent to tell me, yo, Liz, you need to heal. And I took it up. Let's look out for people. Let's call it out for people. Let's tell people this can change. This is not the end of life. We can do this and things can look up for you. Let's be there for people. Because in a world that you can be anything, how about you just try being kind? Because people are fighting a lot of demons out here. Be kind to people, because to me, I believe kindness is classy. And then also, don't do something for someone because you expect something in return. I always say, God up there sees what you do. And one day, he's going to come and show up for you. And everyone is going to say, wow, the God of justice is alive. So let's keep healing. Let's heal people. And let's embrace those people who have mental wellness issues. For those of you who would like probably to reach out to me, my email address is elizanjau3@gmail.com. And my phone number is 0720 657715. My social media page, I have two, but the most active one is Liz Njoroge Njau. You're going to find me there. You're going to find my videos there. Let's interact and let's heal the world and make it a better place for all of us.